Morning all. Time again for Saturday Q&A. Once again, split into two halves because even though I didn't do that many videos this week, still quite a lot to talk about. So, did one on Monday. It was kind of a jokey one because it was bank holiday and I thought I was up there. I had a job actually, and bless them, they booked me for the Monday. And at the time I thought, I wonder if they know if it's bank holiday or not. And I was tempted to ring them and go, you do know it's bank holiday, didn't you? But then I thought, well, do bank holidays really exist anymore? Do things run all the time? You know, Sainsbury's is always open, Amazon's always open. Sure enough, turned up, no one there, not a soul. So the job got cancelled. Oh no, I ended up doing the job on the Tuesday, didn't have anything on, and they paid me the cancellation fee. So kind of felt a bit bad for them. I only drove it to Duxford and back, but there you go, I had to mobilise a truck. So when I got back to the yard, I thought, I had to meet a driver. While I'm waiting, I'll do one on the truck, Jim. So, thanks to Padadrone and B. Carroll and Jason Burke and a happy client and Tesco Trent Derby, that's a new one, like that one, for all the support and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of a joke, like I say, but actually, you guys come back, it's kind of a bit more of a serious issue. I guess the thing is, in the game that we run, fitness isn't, you know, unless you're wise, unless you're bright enough that you can actually do a day's work and then have time at the end of the day and go to the gym if you haven't got, you know, kids or family commitments. But now there is a few of you trying to do the whole thing, like, you know. Tobias Green and London Creative, my mate Nick up with Valentine, like, he says, Nick says, get yourself a TRX system, and Tobias Green says these stretching band things work really well. You can do that and do that kind of stuff. And also gave a load of tips on diet as well. Thank you, Tobias, that's kind of cool. Brian Royal says, he worries me sometimes, he's in control of 7.5 tonne. Yeah, like I say, it was tongue in cheek. You'll be safe, mate, you'll be fine. I'm doing training. Bob Keane says, with them rings, you'll be a dead ringer for Olga Corbett. He does, yeah. He says he does press-ups and sit-ups and stuff in the back of his van. And he says when driving around, presumably if you're looking for a job and you've got some time, look for green spaces to go for a run. There's nothing stopping you having a pair of trainers in the van. The only thing I think is, like, you get out, you go for a run, then you've got to go and get a bit of a job. You're not in the best of, you're not the cleanest. You're a bit sort of, could be a bit sweaty, like, you know. But I guess you've got to get you in when you can, like, you know. And Chris, he says he got knackered just watching. Yeah, it wasn't that energetic, mate. Ian McBride also said about the strength band, he says more important is stretching. He says get one of these foam rollers from Amazon. Now I've seen these, they're like these rubber things like that. Because also I've noticed this, I mean, I'm getting old now, I'm 50. And when you sit there and you know you got to make a cup of tea, it's like, oh, in the evening. So stretching is important again, but I keep trying to get my head around it. It's getting in a routine, I think. It's going like, okay, every time I do my 45-minute break, I do this. But always something else seems to jump into space again. BTH Transport and Haulage says, he says, no, in my luck, I'd hang the bar and the roof would cave in on his head. I'm kind of lucky that metal bar's quite strong. So, this is Chang, he says, most drivers are more interested in crisps than exercise. It's true, but it's not that easy. You know, we kind of, like I say, the job lends itself to sitting down a lot of time. Maybe some jobs have handball, that helps sometimes. Like I say, it was only kind of a comical one, to be honest with you, gentlemen, but it's get your exercise when you can. Back to the real world, lease or buy. Again, I was surprised about this one. I've always bought, and I thought a lot of you would go, no, it's a mistake, Peter, you're not really drilling it in the figures. But most of you seem to be with me. Paul McCavity says, every man and his dog is buying a van at the moment. The prices have been rising by the week. He said, can't find anything decent under 10K. Wish you hadn't did that. I know when I sold mine, because I sold mine to a mate of mine, so it could go on to be a removal van. And I thought at the time I possibly could have got more for it. But I don't really mind, to be honest with you, because he's a good friend of mine and he helped me out. But yeah, he's right. We've noticed that recently the price of vans have gone up. Conversely, the prices of lorries don't. So again, it's because you need so much more to get a lorry. So we kind of seem to be out the loop on that one. But good luck, gentlemen. B. Carroll says, lease is great for quick growth. Buying or finance puts you in a better position down the line. Yeah, I think, yeah, okay, fair enough. We'll take that one on board. Paul McKenna says, definitely buy, as accidental damage and repairs can be very expensive from some companies. This is what frightens me. When they turn around and go, yeah, you can have it, it costs as much. It's no, it's fine. And then you bring it back and go, well, that's got a dent in, that's £2,000. Oh, that's got a scratch, that's £1.5 grand. What? For that? You know, that's just what scares me, is what they're going to get you when you go back in. But I think if you get, again, I suppose it comes down to what kind of deal you get. Gary Jones says, amazing timing for his predicament. He's got 7K to get started. He's looking at a Citroen LS with 100,000 miles on its clock. His issue is the warranty. Does it need one? And does anyone do warranties on used vans with hire and reward insurance? I don't know. So once again, I throw it out to the educated mob out there, to you guys. Do we know anyone out there who does warranties on like second-hand vans, with hire and reward insurance? I'd say, you just got to do the best you can. Maybe take a mechanic with you, check the service history, check the mileages. 100,000 miles in the van nowadays is not that much. I mean, when I turned the Sprinter in, it had done 255,000 miles. And it could probably still go on. My mate Daniel, my transport manager, says that he's seen Sprinters out there that have done 650,000 miles on the original engine. So I think vans are getting better, and I think I suppose what you've got to do is get your head down, get cracking, hope that nothing falls off or breaks in a major way, and then when you start getting some money in from your jobs, try and stick a bit to one side for that time when it does go wrong. Well, that's possibly the best way forward. But like I say, Gary, if anyone gets back to me and knows of anyone who does warranties on second-hand vans, please let us know and I can pass the information on. Get out of the way. Thank you, you're lovely. Bye. A gold member says, bye. If you have to lease, but if you have to have time off, you're still paying for the van, which is a reasonable point. You know, that's going to cost you your money on a monthly basis. If you decide to go on holiday for 2 weeks, you've still got to pay for the van as well. So, Sam Clark says, do your research. He bought a van outright to run on the CX and he loved it. And he's bought a second van on HP with someone running it. Presumably, they've got a sort of a part-time agreement, because he says, then if something goes wrong with my van, I can jump in the other van. I think do your research again. It's very good advice. Yeah. Doozer says, buy pal. Once again, someone else, buy all the time. It's yours, no restrictions, no body charge, small dent. Look for alternative ways to buy a van. This is another possibility. You can always approach the bank, but normally, if you tell them you're going to buy a vehicle, if you tell them you want the money for a car, they're more likely to lend you it than cars, kitchens, and holidays. They seem very happy. You can get a higher purchase on it. You can borrow the money off family. You can borrow the money off a mate. That's what I had to do when I had to buy the van. I didn't have any dough. I borrowed it off a friend of mine. Still paying him back, but you do what you can, So, Ian Merrick, he says he only leased a car once for 3 years, never again. He said totally inflexible. Basically, the guy, it was quite a long list and he had quite a nightmare. That this didn't work, that didn't work. You thought that they'd never pick up their phone when you ring them. Yeah, it just strikes me as a bit of a headache. Slub Carmen Singh said, buy, especially if you're on the CX. He said money is poor. He didn't use the word poor. It is true that sometimes the jobs you're going to do on the CX won't be the greatest of earners, and you want to get your overheads down to a minimum. So if you can get the van, and you can get a reasonably priced van, and you can hopefully, maintain it, hopefully that shouldn't cost you too much money, get the insurance on the price. What you don't want is at the end of the week, oh, look, I've made all this money, right, hand that over to Lease, hand that over to CX, hand that over to the factoring company, and you've got to try and keep everything as low as you possibly can. And that way it's more left for you. It's like, get your hand out of my pocket type thing. And Van on the Runs is... Alice is looking good. He said a DAF with a sleeper cab is a rare beast indeed. I kind of thought, well, because there was two when we bought it, and because I didn't know what I was doing. And he said, you don't want a sister as well? And at that point, I went, no, I don't know what's happening. Kind of wish we had got both. It's not a sleeper, it's a daybed. And I used it for the first time the other day because I woke up early, and I thought, rather than toss and turn and then go back to sleep and then the alarm goes off 50 minutes later. I was supposed to get to the job at 7:15. I had to get up at 5:15. I woke up at 3:45. So instead I jumped in the truck, drove the 3/4 an hour it was to get there, put the daybed down, had a sleep for an hour, got me rest in the day and also reset my driving hours. Very comfortable. I'll do a video on it. Anyway, that'll do for today. That's Saturday. I'll get this one up now, so hopefully you guys will see it reasonably quickly. And I'm going to crack on and do Sundays. In the meantime, hope you're all well. Take care, take money.